How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to your favorite Sunday podcast, Scales and Tales, episode 139, episode 2 of Long Live Juan.
139.
Yeah, dude, it's kind of actually
When,
slowed down.
what was my first episode? It was like 39.
No, dude, it was
Maybe.
like 12.
Wow. We have come.
Um,
That's ridiculous. 139.
da, 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 da. Yeah, dude, it was episode 12, April
Wow.
21st, 2022.
Dude, that's absolutely wild. That is absolutely wild and
Insane.
surreal.
Crazy. But episode 2 of LLJ Long Live Juan. Unfortunately, our other co-host, Feener, could not be here. He's doing boat and dinner stuff.
He's out fishing. He's out fishing, of
Yeah,
course.
that's probably what he's doing.
Can't blame him. Cannot blame him. So we're here.
So,
We're here. We're here to yap our heads up. And
yeah, we're gonna yap for the next hour, just chat, talk, see what Marsh has
love the
been up to. Marsh has been on one or two other podcasts.
uh
Um,
one
Jordan
what was it called? Road dogging?
Road Dogging,
Road.
yep. And then is that the only one?
I
James,
think that was
you did James
yeah,
like
that kind of, yeah, his little talking outdoors thing.
yeah.
That
So Marshall's been happening, been well versed in the podcast world. Um,
every week, Bobby.
every week
And I'm gonna start my own podcast. Get ready. It'll be the homeless podcast, and
you should just
it'll
call it
be me and Archie talking back and forth. It'll be
just
fun.
call it living in the van, living in the
Yeah,
van podcast.
living in the van, and it'll be an entire sleep stream. That's it. That's the podcast. Me snoring.
Dude, you should start live streaming on Instagram, but it's only you sleeping the whole time. You
You
should
seen Asian Andy on Twitch?
no.
He does sleep streams, and people like send him the text to speech thing and try and wake him up, and they'll send him all these crazy audios and like dogs barking and gunshots and doors opening and
Oh,
shit.
you sent me his stuff before.
But I make you laugh so hard.
Dude,
Wild.
you should make it so like you have like sound system and pyro, like the pyrotonics in your in the van go off when you're sleeping.
Surround sound so people can send money and try and wake me up with crazy.
There's just a light show, flames, 3 foot flames shooting inside Ethel.
Just like waking oh, like PTSD.
Oh man, it's just Marshall's actually Archie, and the pyrotonics are just a huge heat lamp while you're sleeping.
This episode of Scales and Tales is sponsored by Texas Spring Water. I broke
Oh, the
the little
handle.
oh,
Dang, where do they get that? What well is it in Texas they get
the HEB well.
that?
What do you got there? Whoa, you got a homeless fisherman sticker on there.
Oh yeah, I
This
do.
is this is so fun. Now I can show the camera my drinks and whatever else. Wonderful, very fun.
Dude, speaking of well water, I don't know if you've ever heard, you know how Nestle is kind of based out of Michigan. That's where they get all their well water from.
I did not know that, but now I know.
Yeah. Hold on. My microphone just changed for whatever reason. Okay, there we go. So Nestle pumps water out of a couple Michigan wells, and it comes out to like they pay like less than a penny for every like 100 gallons they pump out. It's like
Jesus,
actually insane. Dude, I wrote a paper
I want
for it, and Nestle just absolutely makes bank, and Michigan gets like nothing from it. I don't know if it's changed in the last like 6 or 7 years.
a penny to the gallon. That means they're selling it 100 times markup.
Yeah.
Maybe it depends on what. This is from. I don't think this is from. This is actually from Texas. I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but it's Hill Country Fair, which is Texas. So this might come straight out of the Barton Springs. Cool.
Dude, so this is in 2003, but a Michigan court ruled in 2003 that Nestle was solely responsible for draining the Dead River watershed from which it pulled 400 gallons per minute or
Nice.
210 million gallons annually.
Wow. That's really cool and awesome of
Dude,
them.
that's insane. That
400 per minute. That's like how many gallons that per second, dude? What kind of tube do you have to pull all that out? How do you bottle it that fast?
dude, that's like 80 gallons every 10 seconds, I think.
Good lord.
The vast majority of double-digit bass caught in Mexico are caught out of two lakes, Lake Bacharach and Lake El Salto. Josh Daniels Pro Bass Adventures is the only outfitter in Mexico with lodges on both of these trophy lakes. With a fleet of Ranger boats at Lake El Salto and Live Scope Plus at Lake Bacharach, Pro Bass Adventures has the best equipped guides and boats in Mexico. Better call Pro Bass 480-491-9300 or probassadventures.com. We are Mexico Fishing. Staring at that peanut butter and jelly like a largemouth staring at a dollar store worm? Then it's time to upgrade your snackuation. Meat Crafters' line of handmade, small batch, pre-sliced salami and charcuterie make the perfect base for your weekend snackle box. Fill a Plano 3600 with an assortment of Meat Crafters' old world style salami and charcuterie, and you're sure to become the boat ramp champ. Listeners of Scales and Tails can use Scales and Slices at checkout on meatcrafters.com to save yourself 10% off your cart. The code can be used as many times as you want, so you'll never run out of fuel in your pursuit of giants. The next time you reach into the fridge to load up your boat cooler, skip the fish food and grab a stack of Meat Crafters pre-sliced snacks. They are guaranteed to exceed your PB. I've got 3 words for you. Lake Pro Tackle. Lake Pro Tackle has all the gear you need to be ready to have a successful day on the water. Friends of the podcast receive 10% off your orders while using code SCALES at checkout. Checking out with code SCALES not only saves you guys some money, but it also helps me host more giveaways to give back to you guys, the listeners. On their website, you can find exclusive and rare swim baits, JDM and BFS products, and of course, conventional tackle. I can't forget to mention Lake Pro Tackle gets the monthly throwback shop colors at the beginning of every month. Also, orders over $50 get free shipping, including rods. So do me a favor and remember to use code SCALES at checkout to save 10% at lakeprotackle.com. How do you bottle it that fast?
That's all I'm wondering, Bobby.
Oh,
All right,
man.
what is the topic today? Do we actually have topics, or are we actually just
No, I
skip?
figured we were just probably going to talk about, maybe let's talk about the fork tournament, because it seemed like you watched a little bit.
I tuned in a little bit because I was driving back from Florida, so I had it propped up on my dash, kind of looking at it a little bit. I watched Maddie stick a couple on the old 86. That was really cool. Um, Other than that, it was it's Bassmaster. You know what I mean? It's cool, but it wasn't like crazy over the top. I'd say the Maddie thing was probably like the number one highlight.
Yeah.
Um, and then what's his name? Who's doing really good? That Japanese guy that caught the 10 or whatever. Um,
Fujuta, I can't remember his last name.
I don't keep up. I don't keep up. I don't keep up. I don't even know who won. I don't even know who won that one. Like I said, I turned it on for a minute and then I was like, okay. And then after an hour, I was like, this is boring.
I started to fall asleep and
Live bass fishing is boring regardless whether it's front facing sonar or just up shallow or whatever. Like I think the whole sport in general, you know what I mean, we need a little revamp on the tournament side there. We're gonna start America's top bank fishing and change the tournament
oh
scene.
yes, dude, we can talk about that. Because
Yeah, that's kind of
if anybody steals our idea, then that's
then
on
we can,
it's
yeah,
publicly known.
we said
So
it. Yeah.
Marsh and I have talked about it on the podcast, I think. What is it? Japan's top bank angler or Japan's bank angler?
Japan's top bank fishing.
And
That's
it's
that's
by Lure Mag. I know we've talked about this part before. It's the intro. The bass is riding the Tron bike, and they dice out the logo and like the blue neon lighting, and pretty much it's just these two guys going head to head for like the day, and they can drive wherever they want, but they have to fish on the bank. And they can only have like 2 rods, I think, and it's just whoever. I don't know if it's the most fish or biggest fish.
I think it's all length. I think they get a
Yeah.
5 back. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I just know it's hard to follow because it's all in Japanese. But I just know that if you want some hype fishing content, that's a good watch right there. It's
Yeah.
it's like form, but it's like the two cameramen follow the two anglers around like through the bushes and like they're just going through crazy stuff, like climbing on bridges and trees, like fighting the fish. Like there's one where I think it's Taku. Taku
Taku,
either
yeah, it was Taku. It was a couple years before he came over here.
he's fishing a Nico rig and he's on top of the bridge and he hooks this fish and he runs down to the bottom and he has and it gets hung, and then he goes in the water over his head to pull it out, and he comes out with the bass in the water like he's like, yeah, screaming. It's like a 3.5 pounder, but it's like just gets me so hyped. Like watching that is super fun. And I think like I said, people kind of complain about the live scope thing and watching on TV. I'm like, really, all of it's pretty boring. You know what I mean? Like, not that, like, of course, it would be cool if all of it was just clipped. Like, this is a
Like,
frog catch. You
yeah,
know,
like
all
YouTube clips and stuff.
it would be cool, but most of it's not fun. Like that. Like I would say, probably what 7 hours and 15 minutes of that tournament is just not a dead. It's just dead watch. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? 45 minutes worth, and maybe that's even a little generous. There's 45 minutes worth of clippable content. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like dude, realistically, it's kind of like I know you don't watch football, but it's like football. It takes 5 seconds to run the play, and then there's a minute and a half in between plays while there's nothing going on. The
Right.
two guys are talking about the play that just happened while the other guys peel each other off the ground. Like I mean,
Exactly.
that's like what it is. But you can't. I mean, dude, the announcers will sit there for 25 minutes talking about like, oh yeah, man, this guy he felt that tick, he watched the ball and he set the hook, and they'll just reiterate that for 25 minutes until the next guy catches a fish.
Yeah. I mean, that's like same thing, and we hold. I mean, we hold football in a very high regard, but I guess it is. I guess you do watch it for that clippable moment. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You watch, draws it out, and it's kind of like you're there. Out fishing, and you're like, okay, any minute, and then an hour goes by, and it finally happens. Boom. But today's a different world. All right. I have a 6 second attention span. So if you haven't caught a fish in 6 seconds, and if it's not on the mushy bug, I don't want to see it. All right. I don't I'm not watching that.
So we brought up Marshall brought up the top bank angler. We might as well talk about it since we're here. We can't not talk about it because people will make up their own ideas. But so we're gonna start that in the U.S. Um,
A bracket style.
I
A,
guess if you guys haven't seen Bass and Bums, that's something that has yet to actually start. But hold
we're
on, actually,
working.
hold on. Yeah, we're plotting. That's what we're doing. We're plotting.
We've been plotting. You probably saw my special T-shirt in Curse of the Golden Wake Walker. That was there. I've been dropping little hints. There it
Bass and
is. Boom,
Bums.
look at
We
that.
even got Archie.
Archie's up there. Archie's up there, so it's a homeless fisherman production. And yeah, we're working on something. That's one of our ideas. Is a bracket style bank fishing tournament with a championship at the end. Um, I don't know. There's a lot of fun stuff to be done with the tournament format that I feel like is not being done. I want to make something relatable. To be honest, I feel like a lot of my content is like fairly relatable. Like what I do, a lot of people can do it, and I feel like when I watch content, that's what I want. I want relatable stuff that makes me motivated to go out and fish. But when I look at Bassmaster or just anyone fishing off a boat, really, for the most part, like there are some cool clips, but for the most part, I look at that and I go, wow, that guy has $100,000 bass boat. And I'm not even like a lot of people zone in on the live scope. You're like, oh, dude, the live scope unit is $3,000. The boat is $100,000. Like, well, that's the big deal. Like, you look at that, and I'm like, I don't have that to drop. Like, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna go catch that fish? You know what I mean? But when I see some dude on a kayak or a float tube or something, and he's catching big fish, I'm like, that's what I want to do.
Right.
I can do that. I can go out and do that right now. That gets me excited. And that's what I want to make. We need to make the America's top bank fishing trail. And Jeffrey and Phoenix are going to go head to head. A bank tournament on Canyon.
Oh man. So yeah, that's kind of we're trying to talk Jeff into it. I told Jeff he didn't seem sold, but he did not seem sold on it. He didn't shoot the
That's
idea down.
that's just how Jeff is over the DMs. You text him something you're
Yeah.
excited about, like, oh, okay, man. I love you, Jeff, but
And then you see him in person and he's like, "Oh, dude, what?"
dude, give me a hug. He's like, get over here. No, I get that though. I'd probably come off that way and I don't know it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, but so yeah, it's gonna be a 2-on-2 bracket, and Marshall and I would be the best cameramen on the show. I might
I,
not be the best at fishing, but I'll be damned if I miss a fish biting or something crazy. I'm there.
I'm I am down to to get in the bushes. All right, like as much as I want to fish it, I also want to film. Just being there, like falling around, getting the cool shots, and doing all that, like that make me happy. And I
I've
think
got if I've got a gaff, a fish for Marshall or Jeff, I'll do it. I'll do it.
a bass. I'm sure they've seen worse than that. But yeah, I think so. If anyone's listening to this and you have $1 billion and you'd like to throw us $1 million to raise this tournament trail out of the ground, hit me up, shoot me a DM, uh, hit my line, shoot me a Venmo request for $100,000. That'd be sick. We'll start it up.
We've got it for regions. We've got it pretty well planned out. It's just more of the execution is what we have to get down.
Yeah, execution and money. We definitely need a lot of money. We need
Yeah.
sponsors.
If like we could all quote unquote remote work, which means you just pay us to film each other and fish from the
Exactly.
bank and catch, 2 pounders in urban ponds. I mean I'm down. I
Well,
will
dude,
work for you.
I think there are some really cool bank fishing lakes that are not boat lakes that would never have a tournament on them. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Ladybird. Dude, Ladybird would be the perfect spot to have one of these tournaments, or even I don't know. There's just a lot of smaller lakes that aren't boat lakes that would be super fun, just 2-on-2 around the country.
OHIV from the bank.
Oh, can you walk that lake? I've never been, so
Dude, what if we did it where it was you could fish from the bank. The only way you could get off the bank is if you build like a floatable like in Survivor or like in like Bear Grylls where like he finds those big pieces of styrofoam and he makes a floatable tube. Like that's the
I
only way like we promote the tournament fishing, but we also promote like recycling. But and like if you catch one off a craft you build out of shit you find in downtown Austin,
yeah, or
that's like an extra 10 inches to your final length.
even if you just find like a beat up paddleboard or something on the bank, like that's fair game. Like
Yeah.
as long as you don't come into the competition with it, you know what I mean? I want to see some crafty stuff. Like that clip of what's his name jumping the boat over the
Oh,
landmass and yeah,
Posh.
he got disqualified for that
Yeah.
or whatever. We're gonna allow all that. All that stuff that doesn't they don't let happen. We're gonna let all that happen. If you want to try and sabotage your dude and cut his line, like let the fish on, that's fair game. That's fair game, I think.
Dude, like you could like do some crazy stuff. You could make it where you have limited like inventory. Like how like
Oh,
on like
that's what I'm
video
saying.
games and stuff, how like you can only carry so many spaces. Like, dude, that would be kind of sick.
Well, it would be cool to have like registered backpacks. Like we get these. We're like, okay,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is the
like Super
bag.
Bay Korea
This is
bags.
the bag, right? Super Bait Korea sponsored. You get the small size, the little lunch pack, and then whatever you can fit in here, you can take it, right? If you can clip on the little stuff, right? But as long as it goes in here, you can take it. And that'd be cool. So you're not carrying around a giant like thing or trying to pull stuff out of your car. Like it would just be fun, like quick. It would be fast paced. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? There wouldn't be a whole lot going on. I know I wouldn't be retying a whole bunch. I'd have the bellows gill on, and I wouldn't change at all.
Dude, it would be fun to do that. Like, and that's kind of, they don't, I mean, in Japan, it's like where their fishing is like busy. But like, dude, if you
Mm-hmm.
did it like in Austin where they have like the lime scooters and bikes and stuff, or like the
Yeah.
public
Yeah.
transit, that would be so sick.
You could take the bus, you could take the Lime scooter, you could get around, but you gotta like fumble with your phone to get the Lime scooter
Yeah.
working. And it's like, is it really worth it? No, that'd be sick though.
Yeah. Everybody starts with 10% battery. So like, yeah, like you have to
Well,
meet
no, no,
back at a spot.
no. Finding a Lime scooter that's fully charged is already a difficult task. So if you find one, that's fair game, I
Dude, you
think.
probably have better, like around here in the river, you'd probably have better luck hooking one than you would
Really.
finding one fully charged.
Don't worry, I have a video, I have a release video of a 7.5 pounder that one of my buddies caught, and we were watching it swim away, and you can see underwater the beeping light. Like, are you kidding me? Just like being out there, there are so many in Ladybird. I'm pretty sure all the structure. I'm like, oh, here's a rock driving over a tree. It's all lime scooters. There's nothing on the bottom of Ladybird actually. It's lime scooters, lime bikes, dead bodies. Just all a whole bunch of that.
Dude, that'd be sick. And like thinking about it, Grand Rapids kind of has like a ladybird, but it's just a river. But I mean, dude,
Right.
there's trout, there's walleye, there's smallmouth, largemouth, sturgeon,
Even
like there's everything in there.
even the Mississippi, like downtown Minneapolis, has a really
Yeah,
good.
dude.
It's not like super crazy fishing, but honestly, you need some of those areas that are kind of tough. So when somebody pulls out something crazy, it's sick.
Yeah. Dude, that'd be sick to do like a whole urban thing.
100%. No, that'd be baller. Everybody have their own little style and get crazy spots.
Dude, I was gonna say well, we were talking about the live scope thing. Dude, did you see that picture? I don't know if it was real or not, but it was the guy in the it was like a an open or it was like a club or something, but the guy had a co-angler and it's a picture of the guy in the
Oh
back
yeah,
of the boat with the live scope deucer and he's like my co-angler brought his own forward-facing sonar. Like there's no way that's legit, right?
I don't know, man. Look, the photo honestly looked convincing. Like I could, like it looked the setup looked convincing to me. I looked at it and I was like, man, that looks real. It looks like he had a legit mount that he built to put on the side of the boat. Have a live scope beam in the back. You're beaming him in the front. You might as well beam him in the back too. Like head, tail, just all kinds of sounds and alien
Dude,
noises coming out.
it's like in those sci-fi movies, like where the alien ship's like above the clouds and you just see the spotlights. That's what it is.
They're like, oh my god. It was
The
funny.
fish, the fish feel the front one go over them, like, okay, cool, that boat's passed. And then it just gets fucking hit with the next one right behind it from the same boat. Like, son of a
Just
bitch is back.
beaming them from all angles, dude. Beaming them. No, I went out with Jared today actually, and we were fishing. He has all of his graphs. He never has. You see his cast to catches now, and the covers are still on them. Like he never has them on. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna take them out. Like, but he got a live scope unit a while back. I think somebody gifted to him, but he literally told me he went out, fished with it a couple times, and then he got back to me. He's like, dude, this is cheating. Like this is legitimately cheating. You could sink it down on their head, just swoosh it around. So he's like, now I can't even bring it out. So you'll see this big giant screen sitting in his floorboard
It's
in the
Darman.
center console, and it's the live scope down there. He's like, dude, I can't do it. Can't do it.
That's crazy. Well, I mean, I think I've kind of mentioned this before. People, whatever, big problem here in the US, whatever. But I will say it's a big problem in Australia.
Oh yeah,
Their Murray cod are gonna go extinct because they're just not gonna eat anything anymore.
yeah. No, those I I don't know what the deal is with those fish, but it's I don't know, certain fish, it's like if you can put it it's kind of like a peacock bass where like certain days they are kind of funky, you know what I mean? Like they don't
Mhm.
bite all the time. It's not as easy as everyone says. But if you knew where one was and you could fucking beam it and just like pound it over and over again, eventually it would hit. You
Yeah,
just run a bit enough. It's like fishing for salmon or something like that. You know what I mean?
yeah,
When you find out where those fish are, and the cods are so big they can't hide. They're how long are they? They're like 4 foot long.
yeah.
Where are they gonna if they sit on the bottom? You're like, oh, there's a cod. I can see his fin coming up and everything.
Mhm.
Like what are you gonna do? Run it over? You know, like I don't know. That's a wild problem. But I love live scope losers down under. That's one of my favorite accounts. Very very raunchy and very honest
Yeah, he
about the
gets
whole life.
at it, man. He gets to it. Um, oh, there was something I was gonna talk about. What do you think the next thing? I felt like somebody had posted something about the forward-facing sonar stuff, and it was already like guys were already like, "Whoa, I never even thought about that." Like a new way to fish it. And
Uh-uh.
I don't remember what it was. Dude, at some point in time, those just those little like compass bubbles that sit on the boats. There's gonna be one of those and
Yeah.
it's gonna be a deucer on the bottom of your boat. And instead of 360, like where it's the radar ping,
Yeah.
it's just gonna be forward facing sonar all the way. It's gonna be
A
sonar all
full
the way around.
it'll be like a top down version. So it
Yeah.
won't be like this way, it'll be a top down so you can see him swimming from the top.
I mean, dude, like there's they've got to be working on it. So the graph instead of on a 2D panel, it's on a three dimensional.
I think one of the next things is gonna be like spot locking to a fish. Finding a fish,
Oh,
literally
like a blob and it like picks up on it.
yeah. And I think the graph will be able to tell what a fish is now. Like you can even probably use fucking AI to do this, right? Like
Yeah.
figure out what is a bass and what isn't, or what is a fish. And then you could be like, oh, here's a fish, click on it, and then just spot lock it and your trolling follows it around. You know what I mean? You're like that is following it around. Like, oh, if you could just spot lock onto a fish and chase it around and throw in front of its face over and over again, guaranteed, guaranteed fish.
Dude, at some point in time, they're gonna have oh, who came out with that reel? Uh Kind of a weird company. Cast King came out with that like super digital reel. At some point in
Oh yeah,
time, they're gonna hook it up to the graph and it's gonna just like all you're gonna have to do is thumb the spool and it's just gonna like oh, it's gonna pick up that fish, tell it to your reel, and you're just gonna cast out to it. It's gonna be like the Jetsons, dude. That's what it's gonna be like.
it'll all be automated. There won't be a single thing you have to do besides reel it in. That's all you got
Launching
to
the
do.
boat is the hardest thing of bass fishing to do is launching the boat.
Dude, I don't know, like, whatever your thoughts on it, I don't care. But like, dude, watching a video where somebody literally, drops their spool like this because they see a fish on the ground. Okay, I'm just not gonna watch that. Like that's just stuff I don't care about. Like whatever your feelings are about it, I don't care. But I'm not watching that. Like whatever, enjoy your fishing, enjoy that. Like I said, I want to see the relatable stuff. You know what I mean? That's not relatable to me in any way, or shape, or form.
Right. Do you
I feel
think
like that doesn't progress the sport to get new people into it. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say, do you think it gets to a point where the catches are I'm trying to think of the word here, are like looked down on because they're like, oh, he didn't even have to cast. He just dropped it straight down. Like I had to cast 10 feet for my fish.
Oh, like compare. Okay, I was gonna
Yeah,
say
yeah.
it's already an asterisk next to your
Right,
fish.
yeah.
Talking about like even like on a grander
Like like
scale.
like when the forward facing sonar guys go at it with each other. They're like
Oh, dude, I had to make an 80-foot cast for this one. No, no, I had to make a 40-foot. Like, no, I got right on top of it. You know what I mean? Like back and forth. Like the farther cast is better. Like Jesus, yeah. I like I said, I'm over it. Like you can watch those videos all day. I don't care if it's a 16, 17 pounder. It's like, all right, whatever. It looks exactly like the other video. I think I'm telling you, fishing as a sport is moving more towards like skating or BMX and stuff like that, where you're doing a trick. Like the trick is like it's like a line. It's like a skate line. You know what I mean? Like just doing a kickflip is like impressive on its own, right? But it's just a kickflip. But like a lot of people could do a kickflip, right? But if you do a kickflip onto a rail and then slide the rail and then you go down, you jump a 20
yeah.
stair or whatever the fuck it is, right? You make a line, then it's like a more impressive trick because you put that all together. It's just like fishing, like catch it on a certain bait, on a certain watercraft, whether that be on the bank or in a certain spot, you know what I mean? You add all that up. But when people are live scoping, it's all the same trick over and over again. It's just a million kick flips. Like, would you want to scroll and see only kick flips, like just solid flat ground kick flips? You get tired of it after a while. Like it might be hard to do or impressive, but it's no one cares. You know what I mean? Like nobody cares after a while. I'm like, okay, one video and I'm done.
Right.
Hold on. Gotta sip from the jug again.
The jug. Um yeah, it's interesting. I feel like you're gonna see. I mean, you already are seeing a lot of the old guys on the tournament trail, like finish 50th because they're not using scope.
Yeah.
They apparently that first week on where was it? Toledo Bend. They
Mm-hmm.
had gone through and there's a special bass committee that goes through and is gonna kind of set the baselines for restrictions next year. So they're
Mm-hmm.
asking everybody how many graphs they have, all this, all that, and they're gonna go for it from there. But the thing is, like in hunting, like they make the little knocks of the arrow on the back of the arrow glow and stuff.
Yeah.
And when those first became a thing, they became a thing in like the 2000s or late or early 2010s. There were states that just automatically banned them, because the concept of the idea wasn't a problem, but they're like, okay, so this they put something on their arrow now. What else are they going to put on their arrow in the next 10 years that we can't outlaw because we let it stem from this?
Exactly.
And so that's kind of, I mean, that would have been a good idea if Bass would have implemented that at the beginning. or
right?
like limited, like they saw this stuff start to take off and they're like, okay, we should make it so you can only have two graphs on the front of your boat. I
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know
Yeah,
because
there's got to be some sort of rule for it. You know what I mean? Because I mean, there's other objects in sports that have been banned. I feel like we're just kind of letting the
steroids.
fish. This is the steroids of fishing. Yeah, no, I feel like, dude, there's got to be something. Like there's got to be some sort of regulation because this will get out of control, and you can correlate the numbers and percentages, like who has live scope on their
Yeah.
boat, who is using the live scope versus what place do they come in. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, dude, people who aren't using it are not placing, and like that's not fun. That's not fair. That's not you. You know, what I mean? You got to go buy this piece of equipment first before you can do any good.
Yeah.
Like that all about, it's and it always baffles me when people are like they make the argument that like, oh, like if you don't want to use technology, then you should go use a cane pole and you can't use monofilament line because that's plastic and you have to use your hair as a string and braid it. Like dude, that's not what I'm saying. Like the difference between 2D like just solid state sonar and live sonar is a different world because anything that I can do, right? Drag a jig on the bottom and feel the bottom. I can feel a rock. I can come over, right? Stuff like that. I can do that without, like, I can do the same thing that, like a side scan can do for the
Mhm.
most part. Like, I can recreate that. But following a fish around for 30 minutes and hitting it on the head over and over again, I can't do that. That's in like 60 foot of water. I cannot do that. So how is that fair? You know what I mean? That's where it splits for me. You know what I mean? I'll fish against guys with side scan and down scan all day, right? And I'll probably win. But when it comes to the live scope stuff, what am I gonna do? What am I, you know what I mean? What am I gonna do? It takes like 90% of the skill out of it. The hardest part is finding the fish and lining up correctly without knowing it's there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you just have to know. You have to use your intuition, use your previous experiences, and now you just got a bunch of running around and hitting them on the head. Like I said, following a fish around for 30 minutes is like, come on, dude, come on. That's like it's like shooting a deer in the headlights. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what are they gonna do? The deer's not gonna move. It's gonna be like, oh shit, here we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. America's top bank angler, we're only going to be allowed to use the little fish deeper bobber fish finders.
Even it's funny though, because see, like stuff like that is cool, but you won't see people using it. You know what I mean? Like people don't use that. You can go out and catch fish, but it's almost inconvenient for some. Like maybe somebody's got it dialed, right? But I feel the same way about when I used to have my John boat and I had my little 2D side, my little down scan. It told me the water temperature, and that was cool. But other than like that, and maybe telling how deep it was, it didn't do anything for me. I was never looking at that thing. I maybe looked at it every once in a while, you know. And I feel like most people are like that too, unless you're idling around side scanning. That's cool. But like I said, that's a totally different thing than a live sonar, you know. But that's just
Yeah.
my 2 cents, you know. And I mean, the most important point that I make here is that it's boring and I'm not going to watch it. So there you go. Like, and I'm not just talking about the tournament scene, just videos in general.
Yeah. Yeah. I think wrapping up the forward facing sonar stuff because it is a dead horse. But I feel like I feel like this in the viewing that it brings and how many people are going to be doing it. I think there's going to be a lot of bait knockoffs. There's going to be a lot of minnow style baits. There's going to be a lot of, and you already are starting to see it. But I feel like that's going to be, there's not going to be much innovation because guys are going to be like, oh well, this works, so
Yeah.
I'm just gonna make a style of it.
Yeah.
So
Like how can that's the only, it's not about like how can I present this in a new way? It's like how can I present this on the screen?
yeah.
That's it. Right. Yeah.
How can I present this in a way in Dick's where you're gonna grab this pack of baits instead of the one that's right
Yeah.
next to it?
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. It starts there for sure. But yeah, dude. No. But anyway, yeah, beating a dead horse. But people like to hear our 2 cents on it. I think. I mean, if they're listening this far in, I would assume they want to hear our opinion
Right,
on
yeah.
this.
Dude, I had something that I was gonna ask
And
you.
if you don't want to hear my opinion, please send me a hate message. I mean, send me a DM that man, I don't want to hear that anymore.
Dude,
I won't.
there was something I had lined up that I was gonna ask you to catch you off guard, but I don't even remember what it was.
Well, that did kind of catch me off guard that you forgot. But
it's gonna be so out of right field. Oh man, I can't even think of it. But Marshall's back in Texas for anybody who doesn't know. So he's
I'm
back to the homeland. He's fishing when he can. I will say, uh, Marshall and I kind of got screwed over by the time change. We're both kind of hit hard by it. Phoenix, for anybody who doesn't know, I'm like 90% sure Arizona doesn't do daylight savings. So it's
Is
just
that
been
true?
I'm pretty sure. That's why I don't think Phoenix has mentioned it at all.
So I thought that it took away fishing time because I
You
don't know.
said that, and I was like, no, you should gain
I
fishing
know,
time,
I
Marshall.
know. I realized after I went fishing after work, and I was like, wait a second. No, I did gain fishing time. I just didn't understand how it worked because I was like, if we move an hour forward, then isn't my shift moving an hour forward in the day? I guess I guess it cuts that hour out and moves it back,
Yeah.
right? I was like,
Unlike most of the United States, Arizona does not observe daylight savings time.
why? I don't know why we all don't do that. It's kind of ridiculous. It's just like one of those old head things that's been in place, and we just leave it because we're like, it doesn't really hurt anything, but it's kind of annoying. But
Yeah.
it would be more annoying to try and deball it.
Right. So
Ball it.
Saturday, Arizona, I was only 2 hours ahead of Phoenix and Jeff. And now I'm back to being 3 hours ahead.
Wow, great. That's solid.
Yeah.
Super glad. Super glad that's nice and convenient and easy for everyone.
Yeah, dude. So it's a pain. And then you go next door to California and you gain an hour yeah, you gain an hour. Dude, it's so messed up. I don't know why it's still a thing.
No, no. I'm canceling it. All right. I'm calling. I'm and I'm canceling that right now
Um,
after this live.
um, so back in Texas, a working man. What's the fishing schedule like?
So I work it a little bit because I got to recoup some of the Florida gas price cost. Working
Oh,
it.
dude, gas prices. Oh my gosh. I texted the group chat the other day and like gas is 365 here and Marshall's like, "Oh yeah, they pay you to take it here."
Dude, I think I paid 270 the other day to fill up. That was pretty good. We got the oil here, all right. Texas is the best state, right? That's why I came back and I was like, geez, I was paying 350 in Florida, and then I come back and it was like a nice little took some weight off my wallet, but I still had to pay the money to get back. So I'm working at the Burrow Cheese Kitchen, the food truck, my favorite job ever. You guys know if you've been following me for a while. I am the I am the best cheese flipper in Austin, in Texas,
Dude,
and fishing fishing after work mostly now. But you know how it goes. Back on that grind, but I like it. It gives me. I feel like it makes me lock in. You know what I mean? Like I have
you gotta
less
stay in that
time to.
business after work.
Exactly right. I'm like, dude, I'm out of work. Like I gotta use this time wisely. So it almost makes me fish harder because I'm not just like wandering around.
Yeah.
Nothing to do. But
Homeless man activities. Dude, I was gonna screenshot this and send it to you. For anybody who doesn't know the homeless fisherman lore and kind of the scales and tails lore, Aldi is the place of of opportunistic grocery shoppers. For if you have an Aldi and you don't shop there, you need to.
missing
Friday,
out.
or yeah, you guys will be listening to this Monday. For when Friday rolls around, you guys get your paycheck, or you get your paycheck on Wednesday, or whenever you get your paycheck, type on Google Maps, Aldi, go to your closest Aldi. It'll be a life-changing experience. You'll never go back to Walmart or Kroger, or maybe the big box stores, but you will never go back to a Walmart or to a whatever else there is. Piggly Wiggly. I don't know if that's still a place, but all these life changing. But great news, Marshall. They're opening 800 more locations in the US. So that
Whoa.
means that you might get one down there.
Because there's no Aldi's in Austin, which is ridiculous. I got to drive to Pflugerville if I want to go to Aldi.
Dude, there
So
should be like 10 Aldis down there. Well, the big one, I guess you guys have HEBs. I've never been to one.
yeah, HEB is awesome. It is really awesome. It's not. It's probably not the lowest. It's not for the poverty stricken individuals.
Like
Um,
us.
but it's not quite Whole Foods. You know what I mean? It's like a dumbed down Whole Foods. So it's really nice. It's good to go in there and you can get access to your organic foods pretty easily. But Aldi is definitely the goat because I walk in there and I spend like $80, and then that's like almost a whole month worth of groceries. And Aldi goes hard. I'm excited to hear that 800 new Aldis. There got to be one down here somewhere.
It's somewhere.
Got to be moved.
I think the next sticker design we should do,
Is
dude,
a collab with
we
Aldi.
should we should do a Bass and Bum sticker where it's like uh I don't know. I'm trying to think of something. It's like the Aldi logo on a cross or something.
Or it's like outside of HEB begging for change. Please let me in. Dude, HEB's got the little sushi counter, all right? That goes pretty hard. You can go in there and get sushi $7 Thursdays or $7 Wednesdays, whenever it is. Rolls for $7. That's pretty nice. I do enjoy that. Aldi doesn't have that. So I love my HEB, but I do love Aldi too. It's like I don't know. You know what I mean? I want both. I want
Yeah.
both. We have both. I'd be a happy man.
Jason Carroll told me that Aldi's salmon is really, really, really good, and it's like $9 for like a plate of it. And I
Yeah.
almost got it. That's why I texted you guys. I was like, "Do we mess with sushi or mess with salmon?" Because I'm like, I don't. I mean, I've had salmon before and stuff, but it's just like I don't know. I don't know if I mess with it like that. I don't know if salmon and I are like cool like that.
Dude, you got to do like salmon broccoli, and I mean, you can do whatever you want. You can do a salmon pasta. You can do a salmon. You can do like a lock bagel with cream cheese and salmon on the bagel.
Oh yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
you
That's like, dude,
you
that's like we're talking about shopping at Aldi, but you're talking about like HEB level food right there with the
I
salmon bagel.
yeah, it all comes full
Maybe
circle. That
some avocado on the side.
bagel, the lock bagel goes hard, or just even, dude, even salmon and fried rice. Fry that up with some soy sauce. The salmon is like you don't even need to. You don't even need like you can season the salmon just a little bit, but you don't really need like any sauce or anything. You just soy sauce the fried rice, and it like, dude, the salmon is like so juicy and has so much flavor, and it kind of honestly balances out broccoli really well. Like salmon and broccoli go hand in hand. I really like that. Definitely a good combo there. And like, I don't know, you just feel like $1,000,000 after you eat some salmon. You know what I mean? That's what the bears eat, boy.
There's um, yeah, dude, if Aldi had sushi, I'd be holding that place down. I'd be investing.
Well, the I know that Target has sushi, and one time, me and Phoenix and Kyle were all gonna go fishing, and the night before, Phoenix ate the Target sushi, and it absolutely annihilated his intestinal tract. So we did not get to go fishing the next day. So I don't know if I would actually try the Aldi sushi. That sounds a little scary. Aldi sushi sounds like I don't I don't know. That sounds
7-Eleven sushi.
it's like on the same level. I don't know if I'd be down. Maybe I'd give it one shot, but especially after the Target sushi story, I'm a little skeptical of
Dude,
the cheap.
I I won't get like real fish sushi from the grocery store, but I'll get like the imitation crab, like the spicy California rolls. Those are good. But
You
even
don't
that's
nigiri?
like, what'd you say?
You know, like nigiri, like the raw, straight up raw fish on the rice, nothing
No, no,
else.
no. I would try it and eat that if
Oh,
it wasn't from the grocery store.
oh, fair.
So like,
The H one is actually good. It's like fresh. You can literally watch them do it
yeah,
right
yeah,
there.
you can watch them make it at Meyer too,
Yeah,
but it's still kind of like I don't know.
yeah,
But
yeah.
dude, it's like here it's like $9 for 12 rolls. I don't know if that's good or not, but it's always like 12 rolls is
That's
not enough to fill me up. Like I could eat 24 easily.
well, you mean one roll that's cut into 12, right?
Just 12 pieces.
Yeah.
I'm
So
assuming it was a roll that they
the
cut up. Yeah.
one roll, yeah. No, sushi is just expensive like that. That's how, like I said, HEB has like the $7 deal on Wednesday or Thursday or whatever it is, and that's a pretty good deal. $7 for a roll, like you can't really beat that. Um, but yeah, for the most part, if you want to eat sushi, you're gonna be spending like $25 at minimum to fill you up. like I go in there when I'm like, I got tip money from Burrow. I'm gonna go hungry. I just got off like a 10-hour shift. I'm about to destroy some sushi. Like I just want it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my sushi day. You know.
Um I was on Google probably like 2 weeks ago looking for unlimited sushi buffets in Grand Rapids, and there's a couple. So I might have to go
We have
do some
we have
test
a we have a rotating sushi bar over here, not too far in North Austin, which is like super dope, super fun date spot. You go and the sushi comes across the conveyor belt, and you just look and you pick the one you want. You just pull it out,
Oh,
and
really?
they charge you per plate. Yeah, so it's like $3 a plate, and like the sushi comes by, and you just grab it out from the thing, and then you order your drink, and there's a little robot that comes and brings your drink, legitimately like a robot that drives over, and goes, "Here you go, thank you," and then drives off. Like it's so fun. Place.
Dude,
I think it's Kira, Kira Revolving Sushi. I don't know if I'm supposed to put that spot out there. If I'm gonna blow the spot up, but people are gonna spot burn my sushi place now.
have,
But
have you seen those robots that like ride around in the grocery stores and like scan the aisles for like stuff that needs restocking?
no, I've seen the DoorDash ones. We There's a DoorDash one that drives around
Oh, like the
downtown.
little
I've seen,
four-wheeler thing?
yeah, yeah. That'll get stuck in holes and stuff like that.
Dude, how pissed would you be if like your DoorDash app was like saying the robot was on the way, but like it hasn't updated in like 35 minutes, and it's because
It's
it
in a
fell into like a
hole,
sinkhole, yeah, or
or
somebody ran it over.
some homeless man like robbed it. Like what? You know what? I don't know. I honestly think that it'd be cool. Those would be cool in a very gentrified area, but that doesn't work downtown. All right, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. That doesn't work on the poorer side of Boston for sure. East Riverside, that ain't getting by.
That's like, do you think at some point in time you could be out on the middle of Lady Bird and punch in something and a drone
Dude,
comes up and drops off like an Amazon drone drops off like your Five Guys or something and it just fucking flies
I
off?
I will do that if that is the thing. I will do it. I will order P Terry's from the drone from a drone
Drone
strike, but
drop
it's
off. Drone
drone
strike.
just P Terry's. It's a P Terry's chicken burger. God, that would be amazing, dude. Right on Town Lake. Like the bite's good, and I'm like, dude, I can't go get food right now. I just call it up real quick. I have ordered pizzas to the side of the lake. I've done that, but that's kind of everybody does that, you know. I
Right.
want the I want the drone to deliver me P Terry's.
That's a good question. What do you usually take if you're going out? You don't have to work. You got the day off. You're going out on Lady Bird or some other body of water. What do you are you bringing anything for lunch? Or are you just
Yeah,
sticking it out and grinding it?
I'm pretty big on packing lunch because I don't want to be hungry, like super hungry when I get off, because then I want to go buy stuff. You know what I mean? Then I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I need to get a burger. So like usually I make a sandwich, right? Somebody put me on to put a little honey mustard on my turkey sandwich. I don't know why I didn't think about that before, but man, honey mustard, turkey cheddar, wonderful, right? And then usually if I'll make like a fried rice dish, and maybe I'll have a little left over and I'll bring it out there, or just bring some instant noodles, bring the cooker, cook them up right there. Archie watches me make the noodles, boil some water, boil the town lake water. No, I don't actually do that, but that would be funny for a video. But yeah, making instant noodles on the lake is kind of a vibe. It's fun to cook out there. Like it's just
Yeah.
such an interesting like environment, but it's hard to bring a bunch of stuff. You know what I mean? You got to bring your cooker and all that, but it does
Dude,
make for a fun.
if I was gonna say you could do you could do like what the Japanese guys do. You could buy uh a
The jet,
boiler, a jet
the jet boy.
boiler. Dude, you could
I
make a video like having lunch while catching fish or whatever, and the thumbnail literally be the jet boil filled with ramen.
No,
Dude, I bet you
I've thought about getting one of those jet boilers, but it's like my thing that I have works so good already, so I'm like,
right.
I don't really need to, but it would be cool. It was just that's like an extra like $90 I got to spend on a jet boiler. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
damn.
dude, they're freaking expensive. I looked at them this weekend. They're like 125 bucks.
Yeah, but that's because they actually work literally
Yeah.
like 6 second boil. Like it is definitely pretty worth it. I think Brian has one, Mr. 9 Pound Hammer. He actually brought it out with us. That's right. He does have one. We went out and we camped. We didn't camp, but we were doing a night mission on Ladybird. And we went and made dinner on the Lamar Bridge piling. Like
Mhm.
there's like a slab that you can get out and stand on. And we sat there and made ramen and stuff. I had an instant hot pot, which is like you open the packet and you drop it in the water and it just automatically boils, no heat, no nothing.
Oh, damn.
And I think kind of sucked, but it was a cool concept. It was fun. It was interesting, but yeah, yeah, dude, you gotta bring a lunch out of the water. Like you can't not
Yeah.
bring a lunch. Like when you go out and you're hungry, like you don't fish right. You gotta have
Mhm.
snacks. You gotta keep yourself going. You know, you gotta keep yourself fueled. How am I gonna catch the world record on an empty stomach? That's not right, dude.
It,
That's not right,
that's like
dude. Good. Go ahead.
I'm trying to strategically plan what I can keep in the Yeti until I get the fridge situation all figured out. Like what I can keep in the Yeti over the course of like 4 or 5 days that like I don't know, like I can eat the same stuff like 4 or 5 days in a row, so I could just like meal prep a whole bunch of stuff and just take it out there
Yeah.
and eat
Yeah.
it. But my thing is like the amount of food that you can eat cold is kind of like a really small thing. So it's like a sandwich, a banana. I mean,
Right. Right.
like there's not like a huge pool to pull from. So I don't know,
Well,
maybe I just
one thing I do, right, is I have my Tupperwares, right, and I'll make my fried rice dish, whatever. I pull it out of the fridge cold, and then I put it on top of my crate so the sun warms it up. So then by the time I'm ready to eat it, it's already warm. You know what I mean?
right.
It's in the pot.
Yeah.
So heat it up. Boom. You don't even have, you know what I mean? Then you don't even have to worry about it. That's
Yeah.
probably the best idea right there. Have your Tupperware, your see-through, you know.
Yeah. I mean the place I'm gonna be fishing, I don't really know how big it is. That's the problem. Like,
We're both chasing records this spring. We should talk about that. So I have a lake. This is a good segue, right? Speaking of world record, I have a lake. I'm not gonna say anything, but I have a lake that I'm going to fish next week. So I guess I will be there when you're listening to this, right? And I'm gonna make a exclusive Patreon series for this. It's gonna be titled "Hunting the World Record" or something like that, right? World record chasing. I'm gonna go full in depth. Everything. I'm gonna say everything. I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna talk about all the cool baits that I have. I'm gonna catch a fish on. I'm gonna catch a fish on this thing right here.
then this whole gigantic
I'm,
lure.
I'm on this thing for sure, guaranteed. This is the first time I'm even showing this, right? So you guys will see this. I'm gonna catch a fish on this. I'm gonna teach you guys how to fish this bait. I'm gonna make a full series, right? It's gonna be really cool. And I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna do a bunch of theory talking and hopefully catch a giant. But I really think this lake has a world record in it. Like at some point in the year, maybe she spawned out now, but I definitely think there's a Texas state record. Actually, that's no. I know there's a Texas state record in here, so we're going for the Texas state record right this spring. I'll settle for a 12, right? Settle for a 12, going for the record. And then Adrian, you're fishing a lake this spring
Yes.
that is also might have a record in it. So
Yes.
we're
I
locking in,
I think it
right?
does. I really, really think it does. Dude, so this lake that I know very, very well, the lake that I fish up at home is 2,100 acres and it's really not that big. Like I could point out dang near every single spot that has
Mm-hmm.
fish. And this lake that I'm going to is like 250 acres.
Wow,
Yeah, I thought it was a lot bigger than that. But yeah, I
that's
think
sick.
I think that there's the possibility of being, 8 plus pounders from especially from what I've heard and what stuff says. That I don't know, man. I'm not confident. Hmm, I don't know what the
You're
word
gonna
would
be,
be.
you'll be able to put your bait in front of one. That's the
Yeah,
big thing
yeah,
for. Is like no matter what my chance of catching it is, as long as I can know in my mind, like, hey, I am fishing around these fish. I'm probably have presented to one. That gives me enough sound mind. You know what I mean? Like when I'm fishing a new lake or something, it always kind of stresses me out because I'm like, is there a fish in here like that? Am I fishing the right spot? You know what I mean? But once you really spend a lot of time on a lake and you get to know where the big fish are and you kind of get in the cycle, then it's like, dude, the confidence goes through the roof. It doesn't
yeah.
even matter if you're catching anything or not. You're just like, I'm in front of them. I am in front of them. I am showing them baits. I'm presenting, and all they have to do is slip up one time. So you're gonna do 250 acres. You're gonna you're gonna find one. Right? You're gonna be able to
Yeah.
find one right, and you'll be able to make them slip up. You know what I mean? Drag a softy, throw the mother.
Do
Something's gonna.
so say you on your journey, you see a fish and it's, you know, 17 pounds plus. Maybe it follows your bait. Maybe it just shows itself. You see it, and especially if you see it from the board, that's like legitimate. You can tell a size.
Right there.
What
Right.
does that do for you? Does that like piss you off? Does that like make you call in for work and say, okay, I'm quitting because I'm gonna be here for the next 3 weeks?
It definitely doesn't piss me off. That should do the opposite. If you see a big fish like that follow you out, it should light your fire. First thing I'm doing is if it followed me in, I'm not casting there again. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
going to code anything. I'm going to go back to the bank and I'm going to plan out my attack. You know what I mean? Like that's seeing a fish of that caliber. I've only seen a couple that I think like with my own eyes that I think were like 13, 14 pounds. And you know what I mean? I know where they're at and I fish for them. And to me, that's just like it's awesome to be able to find a fish like that and then know you're presenting in its area. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It's not very often that they leave those areas. You know what I mean? They usually stay, they usually kind of hang around a spot. So then you have a fish, you're like, dude, I can approach this fish in multiple different ways. You know, I know it's there. Probably maybe no one else knows it's there. And that's a sick thing. You know what I mean? It's a sick thing to have one of those fish that you know is there. And then it also gives you the confidence to know that, dude, if there's one, if you saw one, there's definitely more. Like there's always a bigger fish. I've learned that over the years. Like you'll see people go, oh, I don't know if there's bigger than a 13 in here. And there's always a bigger one. That's like whenever Live Scope came out and everybody was just catching them, dude. Like my home lake, Eagle Mountain, everybody was like, oh, there's no fish bigger than 14 pounds in there. And then boom, 16-pounder lake record, right?
Right, yeah.
And I think there's a bigger one than that. I think every lake has a bigger fish. You could, Adrian, you could go catch an 8.5 pounder, a 9 pounder, right, this spring, and I can still tell you there's a bigger fish in there. You know what I
Right.
mean? If that quality of fish exists in there, then you know what I mean. There are bigger ones for sure. Unless you literally just caught a 25 pounder, like I can almost guarantee you there's another fish of that class in there. It's
Right.
always a cool about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
And
I
I
hope
mean,
17 pounder.
yeah, you're going with the frenzy. Dude, I don't. I've got 8-inch HUDs, got 10-inch mag drafts, 8-inch mag drafts, K9s, the ZFG trout, 255s, the mother, taxi trout. I mean, dude, I've got all the tools. I've got all the tools. I just need to
That's
build the house.
that's
I've just gotta get all the material and build the house. That's all I've got to do.
that's
I've
really
I've I've built so many houses before, like in real life. Metaphorically, I should be able to knock this bitch out of the out of the way.
Absolutely, dude. Like, it's funny you say all that because this is the first year in a long time where I feel like I do have all the tools. Like, I'm sitting here and I'm like, dude, I have all the tools. Oh, right? Like, I've got the hooks, I've got the line, I've got everything just right. I got my setups right. And I'm like going into this season like super confident. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like everything's right. And if something doesn't go wrong, if something doesn't go right, it's either I'm just super unlucky or it was my fault. Like I dumped the fish or whatever. Like I feel like I'm gonna have that shot and I'm gonna be able to make it happen. You know what I mean? Like I've got all my ducks in a row for sure.
Yeah.
And I feel like you do too. You have a lot of baits there. You know, a
Is
lot of baits.
is is there anything you're doing? I mean, Uh, you can elaborate on this. You don't have to. Is there anything you're doing to the baits to kind of give yourself that edge on a big fish? Whether it's so, Marshall and I were talking before we were holding up 255s and stuff. So like the 255 here, if it focuses, has that steel barrel swivel and stuff on there. I'm thinking about lobbing that off and doing braid just because it's a little, more low profile or just whatever it may be, like a slight bait mod, I guess if you want to call it that. Is there any bait mod that you're gonna make or have made that you think would make the difference when you cross paths with a absolutely phenomenal caliber fish?
Well, I will say first thing is that almost all of my baits are being modded. Like there's not a single bait that I'm not playing with because I'm like a big believer in the biggest fish in the lake is going to eat something that is not being shown. You know what I mean? Like it's something completely unique. They're going to look at it and be like, wow, what is that? Like it's going to be completely off the wall. Maybe it's the presentation. Maybe it's, the hooks you have on it. Maybe it's the paint job, something like that. As long as I have something unique going into it and I'm presenting it in a unique way, I think that I have a shot at that fish. And then second, trying to go as realistic as possible is the move. You know what I mean? Keeping everything really low profile, light line, light hooks, all that jazz, right? Very, very light stuff. I don't like to have anything too overbearing, except for the frenzy. I was like, you know what, this is probably the one bait in my arsenal that is worthy of 1/0 hooks. I was like, it just looks right. You know what I mean? They're still not overbearing. Like
Right.
you look at the whole bait and you're like, okay, the hooks are
Yeah.
minuscule thing.
The
So I was
last
like,
thing that catches your eye.
exactly right. That's what I look at, and it's just a big giant hunk of plastic. I don't know. This is probably not going to be a very successful bait. I don't think it's gonna be like my ultimate giant catcher. I don't think I'm gonna catch a 12 on it, but I think I will be able to catch a fish on it, and that'll be pretty funny. I'll just catch one funny and then throw the mother and actually catch a 12.
I think I've got two 8-inch HUDs, and I'm so close to just cutting off the jig hook
Cut
and
it off.
doing the belly
Cut,
trouble.
cut it off. Don't do the belly. Or
No,
I guess if you cut it out, do a tyrant mod. Do a floating style HUD mod. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like either do that, but definitely don't have that jig hook on there. That's I mean, I have done well on the jig hook, but I think I got lucky on all those fish that I did catch. Like a lot
dude,
of times eating
yeah.
it. The
That video when you and Juan were fishing in, excuse me, in that thing, like picture I'm the fish right here.
I
This
mean,
is a Huddleston. It's like
back
Marshall pops it and it's like,
it
and
comes
like pulls it out.
out of the back of his throat, and that was a 10-inch HUD, mind you,
Yeah,
straight jig. I would not run that anymore, dude. Like I'm treble hook all the way. Have some kind of harness rig where it pops out. You know what I mean? Make a line through, do something. That jig hook is scary. Like it's just scary. I don't want to hook that fish, and you know, like if I don't have the right equipment to land it, that's gonna suck. Like
yeah.
I want it to be correct. You know, good hooks, good hardware, no jig hooks. Jesus.
That's like just a old citizen here. I really want to do it for a line through. Some of the spots that I fish are super rocky, like just big chunk rock.
Right?
And I just feel like the gobies, gobies aren't this big. They're smaller, obviously,
Yeah.
but they literally just sit on rocks and like they like make highways out of the rocks. Like they go from one rock, float to the next one. And I feel like if I can do that with a tyrant, or not a tyrant, geez, oh Pete, do it with a citizen, or
Yeah.
maybe even like a 316 or something like that, where I don't have to worry about that beast hook weight getting hung up or tick. That's another thing. I don't know. Somebody posted a video of a soft bait underwater, and you could hear that lead hitting rocks in the tank, and you could hear the tick 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 tick. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm sold on that. Like, I mean,
Really?
every soft bait's gonna do it, but it's like it kind of like when your head's in the water or next to the water, or you hear it on video, it sounds like like how the sonar ticks. It
Yeah.
sounds like that. And so it's like, I don't know. I'd be more sold with it just not making any noise, whether or
That
not that ticking noise would make a difference or not.
you know what? That's something that I actually never really put any thought into. That's kind of like turning my gears here. Having a soft like wow. Having the soft part of the bait come in contact with the rock
Yeah.
instead of the part because the lead does make a loud noise.
Yeah.
And
What?
every single soft bait that someone's dragging on the bottom is ticking lead.
Yeah.
Uh and I don't know. Imagine like
That would you could even do a mod where you run a jig head or you run a beast hook, but you take like
something
uh
soft to cover it
yeah,
with.
who makes the foam board? Is it does Zappo make the foam board too? Like, or you even take a Chick-fil-A cup and
Yeah.
literally just put some kind of cushion there so it dampers the noise.
Dude, that's kind of blowing my mind. I gotta try. I want to try that. I was fishing the Bellows Gill today on the Beast Hook, and that's how I normally fish it. But we were fishing the dam at Decker,
Mhm.
and dragging along, and I was like, dude, why is this not getting bit? And I mean, like, if I could figure out a way to get the Gill, what I mean, with no lead hitting the bottom
Yeah,
or cover up hook like that, maybe just wrap it in like a piece of string or something, even like
something.
wrap
Yeah.
it paracord, wrap it
Mhm.
or something like that. So it would be a silent bait on the bottom. That's that's interesting. That's actually an interesting concept. I never thought about that because I mean like if Gilbert fishes it, it must be good. It must be the best thing in the world. You know what I mean? If Gilbert's out there throwing the citizen and ticking the rocks and it works, it
Yeah.
does work, but maybe there's some ingenuity needed there to make a
Yeah.
soft bait. It's only plastic hitting the bottom. It's just like
Right.
thumping, you
Yeah.
know?
Like you could, I mean, you could make a plastic cap that goes over it, or like just something to dampen that noise. We're probably just mad scientists right now. Like 99% chance it probably doesn't matter, but that 1% chance for that 1% fish that you're going after, that I'm going after, that most, well, a lot of people are trying to go after. Like that could be the difference maker where that fish is nose up on this thing and you pull it 3 inches and it's like click, 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 click. And that fish is like, what the
Dude.
hell? And it turns
Well,
around and swims away.
think about the realism. You know what I mean? A fish is not going to be ticking on the bottom like
Yeah.
that. Even a fish as hard as a bluegill, if it was like dying and hitting the bottom,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be.
It's
It's
a
soft.
it's a thud. It's not a fucking tick 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 tick.
Exactly. That's why. Honestly, that's why I feel like sometimes like the mushy bug or something does really good because you
Mhm.
put like I put a 2-aught like and a 2-aught worm hook is completely different than a 2-aught treble. You know what I mean? The
Right.
2-aught worm little bitty, right? And you put that in there and there's just like barely any wire there. So the ticking is just like very, very quiet. It's a very subtle bait. Um, and like if you have a bigger hook in it, obviously it's gonna make more noise. Um, dude, that's an interesting concept. I'm glad you brought that up because I'm gonna go test some stuff tomorrow. I'm gonna go mess around and play
And
with it.
and that's even like um I don't know what the throwback crankdown is like, but if you have a crankdown that has squeaky joints relative to like a brand new crankdown, like I don't know what it is, but I always did really good on the squeaky crankdown rather than the silent one. Like if you can get it, as bad as it sounds, if you
Well,
can get that bait to rust, like the
that's
hinges to rust,
that's active though. You know what I mean? I feel
yeah,
like what we're talking like when you're dragging a soft bait
right.
on the bottom reactive, it's more like just they come up and literally nose up on it.
Hmm.
Like that's not reaction. You know what I mean? They have to decide it's real. They go,
Yeah.
okay, real, and they eat it. Versus like it comes wiggling by their face, or even a
Hmm.
glide bait is sort of a reaction bite. You know what I mean? It like triggers that
Yeah.
motion. You can tell when it. I don't know. You like if you've ever seen fish eat a worm up shallow. Sometimes you'll throw. If you throw a spinnerbait or topwater by it, you can just tell their brain goes reaction mode. But if you
Hmm.
drag a worm by it and they go, ooh, and they turn over and they look at it, and they come over real low, and they just suck it up.
Yeah.
Like that's not if that's like I mean it is reactive to their environment, but
Hmm.
it's more of a decision. They have to go, is
Yeah.
this real? They eat it. You can literally watch their gears turn. It's like
Yeah.
watching a dog when you hold up a treat. You know what I mean? Um,
So I don't know if you've gotten to experience this maybe in your youth if you bed fish, but I the only time I can think of it ever, if you ever being able to see it and kind of like comprehending and learning anything from it is either bed fishing or ice fishing, like when you can see down in the hole. Have you picked up on like fish body type or body language? So like when their gills start to flare super hard or their pec fins start to like do that circle and stuff, have you gotten to see and read a lot from those fish, or is it just like so
it
bang bang down there that you don't really get a time to like try to
it's
trick them into bite after they don't commit?
so I've definitely like okay, so I've definitely done like when I was younger, I've definitely bed fished a fair amount, but I feel like the bed
Flip it,
clip and
post it.
post it. I'm in Barton fishing all those beds. Watch me. Um, no, but I feel like the bed fishing bite is different than watching a fish react to a glide bait when it's hungry. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You could tell it's like territorial
Hmm.
versus I'm gonna eat.
Hmm.
And I've seen plenty of fish. Like I said, most of our lakes are pretty clear down here. Um, I don't really feel like I get a lot of chances to make a fish react when it comes in on a
Hmm.
bait. I'm sitting so low on the water anyway. When that
Yeah.
fish is
Right.
right, it's right there. Now I've done my like 8 trap videos, and that's the time where I do see them. They're right in front of me. I'm either figure eighting a fish or, like I said, I had one. I had one last year in April that came up on the mother that was very, very big, and I watched her come up and do the gills flaring thing and just like come right up on it, and she had all the body type, like the body reactions, you know what I mean, that you typically see in like I'm gonna eat that, you know what I mean? I just fucked up. Like I had my moment, I messed up. But you definitely get to watch their body, like you get glimpses of the body language for sure.
Mhm.
Whenever you do get that occasional one that comes up. Honestly, I'd rather not see the body language though. I'd rather just have it eat on the end of my cast and,
Right.
and get it. Because like whenever I get them closer to the board or even the boat, like I think a fish eating next to the board is much more likely than a fish eating next to the boat. But even then, like they still look up and they go, "What the hell is that? Like, what are these toes hanging down?" And then they go, "No," and they swim away. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I don't want them to come up to me. I want to hook them far away so they are 100% like this bait is real. That's why a
Mhm.
couple of my big fish last year were long line. You know what I mean? Dumping out a spool and reeling it in from a like an extra 100 or 200 foot cast, you know what I mean, to give them that extra time to decide, like, okay, it's going, okay, it's real, I'm gonna eat it, you know
Mhm.
what I mean. Gilbert has a theory video on it. He's got a theory video on everything, but I've been able to see it in action and like confirm that, you know what I mean. That's real for sure. But yeah, I don't know. The body language thing is it's helpful, but I don't get to see it very often. I'd rather not. Rather not.
Right. And that's
Right.
like I've gotten spoiled because I can see it at that spot I fish
Yeah.
because I mean you can see them from 60 yards away when they come up and just you see a black ominous shape following your glide bait, and you can see them like you can glide it and they'll follow it, and then you let it sit and it hits down to eye level for them, and you just give it one hard reel turn, and that fish will
Right.
get right up next to it, and it'll be sitting there, and you give it a wham wham wham, you give it 2 3 hits, and that fish like that's like a make or break moment for
Yeah.
that fish. Like it's either going to or it's not going to happen,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I
It's also different. It's also different. Like that is helpful to see it happen, but I also feel like it's sort of kind of like, you know, I don't know. You could fish for those fish up there and they like a certain cadence like that,
yeah.
but then you fish for another fish in a lake that's probably only 10 minutes away. And then maybe they've been shown a bait a couple times, you know what I mean? And they don't respond to that same cadence. Like I feel like
Mhm.
it's just case by case.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The all body language is not, it's just, I mean, it's just like,
Alike.
it's not
Yeah.
alike. You know, I mean, some people are more reactive than others. Some people you can't even read them at all. You
Hmm.
know, some fish you just look at them, you're like, I'm sure you've seen fish in the water where you're like, is he gonna eat? And you throw the bait in front of him, and you're like, no, he's not gonna eat. And then just boom,
Boom.
blast out
Yeah.
the door, crushes it. You're like, whoa, like
Yeah.
what happened? You didn't even come and follow it or check it out or anything. You know what I mean? So it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. It's all case by case. I think each big fish, like 4+ pounders, are their own individual at that point.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? They kind of run on their own clock. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's the theory. That's my theory.
That's Bill talks about it in Pursuit of Giant Bass. He talks about what is it, 4 or 5 pounds? Like once that fish hits that, it's
Yeah,
probably more so a year thing rather than a weight thing, but they
yeah,
hit that maturity and it's what is it? It's a coincidence you find a group of big fish together. The reason you find so many big fish together it's because it's such a good hunting opportunity and all
yeah.
these fish can place up into it. It's not because they form schools or because they're schooling up like small fish. And that's kind of interesting to see too because if you see a group of big fish on a stump out in 20 feet or you pull 2 fish off it, or even like that video that you have last year, you catching those 3 5s and back to back to back casts.
Yeah.
You could go on the other side of the lake with a similar laydown, and if it's not a huge lake and the conditions don't change over the course, like there's a good chance you could pull a bunch of 3s and 4s 5s doing the same exact thing because those big fish, because you already have a case study of those big fish doing that thing over here. you know there's a good possibility those fish are set up kind of similar on this side.
Yeah, that's definitely like each, I would say, and it's funny that video where I caught the three back to back. They're all like you look at those fish and they're all different builds.
Yeah.
Like they're completely different fish. Like the first one was short and fat, and
Hmm.
then the second one was like a medium build, and then the last one was just a big long
Yeah.
snake. You just tell they're all different, but they are congregating at a really,
Hmm.
really good spot. Like that tree, when that tree fell in the water, I remember I was like, that is in the most perfect spot where I caught fish there before, regardless. And now
Yeah.
there's this here, and everybody knows what it is, and probably fish the shit out of it now. But yeah, no, definitely. All those fish to me were all individuals. You know what I mean? They just happen to coincide there. Like most of
Hmm.
the time, when you're fishing a spot and not catching anything, it's not because there's nothing there. Like there might just be one, right? There might just be one. There's spots that I go to, even on Ladybird, where I have fished every spot down to the like millimeter. I've drug a worm over everything. And there's spots where I haven't caught anything, but I'll still go back because every once in a while, right? Like I might run over that fish that's sitting there just right and she'll eat it. Like I'll go to a spot and I'm like, man, I've never caught a fish here. Fire out.
Hmm.
Boom. Like, whoa, what happened? Right. You just happen to line up on her just right. It's not because there's no fish there. You know what I mean? Like they set up and they're just individuals. It's just there's not a lot of big fish there. Like that
Hmm.
would be the moment. And finding spots with a lot of big fish is rare. You know what I mean? So when you
Yeah.
find one, oh, there should be big fish loaded up on every good spot. But that's
Mhm.
not true. It might just be one. It might be one, might be 20,
Yeah.
but it's hard to it's definitely harder to tell when there's only one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you have to one bite instead of one out of the
Mhm.
school. You know.
Yeah. And I think that's a huge pro of the paddleboard is you move at your own speed, or like you can only move so fast. You can't be in a bass boat and fish this bridge point and turn around and run up the lake 600 yards to the next dock that you've caught fish on before. You're forced to be on the scenic route, and you're like, oh well, if I'm paddling, I might as well stop right here and fish this dock. Like there's
It
no
makes you
telling where this. Yeah, yeah,
which is super important because there's stuff that you wouldn't think looks good,
yeah.
wouldn't think is good, but it is good. And then also it forces you to soak and really catch those fish that people might not think are there, or they don't get that spot enough time, or
Hmm.
I wouldn't give that spot enough time if I wasn't on
Right.
the board, or whatever. But I'll drag it a couple extra casts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because I'm chilling. Maybe you got to give that maybe all the time. It's always got to be a maybe. Like
Hmm.
you can never be closed minded about it. Oh, there's never any fish there. There's no
Right.
big. Like, hey, maybe,
Yeah.
just maybe. Right?
Yeah.
That's the whole sport. That's the whole sport is a maybe, right?
Right.
Then
Yep.
up shallow, out in the middle, whatever. It's a maybe.
Heck yeah, dude. Well, think we kind of wanted to keep this a little bit short, especially since Feener was not here. So
Mr. Feener, Mr. Feener will join us
Mr. Feener's at dinner right now,
probably next week. Okay.
allegedly.
Allegedly, these are allegations, everyone.
We don't we'll get his alibi tomorrow morning. But
Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. It was like three quarters. I don't know, it was like half of us just being silly, goofy guys, and then the other half was us like actually talking about bass fishing. So
we always we always have to bullshit for 30 minutes and then we lock in at the
yeah,
very
we
end.
lock in. Like this,
Uh,
that was just it was just us just being silly, and then
we got
we
off on
locked
there.
in.
Everyone, please go check out the Patreon.
Yes.
Uh, I would love you all to check out the Patreon. If you haven't joined the Patreon in the past or haven't seen any updates, I have a new $5 tier. So if you don't care about the giveaways, $5 tier, hop on there. You can see all the content. And if you do care about the giveaways, you join the $10 tier. I got monthly giveaways going on. So I'll plug that and that's
Heck
it.
yeah. Next month he will have all four issues of
That's
the
right.
zine,
That's
or
right.
maybe it's 2 months. I don't know, whichever, however you have it laid out.
There will be I'm trying to get more multiple winners for each
Oh,
month. So this
heck yeah.
this month I have some Osakana swimmers and maybe some extra fun stuff. I actually have some extra fun stuff I might throw in there for the giveaway. So there will be like 5 winners for this one. And then next month will be 4 winners. You get a chance at a zine. So
Heck
yeah.
yeah.
But the collab.
Maybe I'll send you I'll send you 4 boxes too.
There you go. Nice. That'd be
So
dope.
somebody can get the cereal box, yeah.
That'd be worth it. So up on the Patreon. It supports Archie's College Fund.
Also, the YouTube, what's the YouTube channel?
The Homeless Fisherman. Wednesday night uploads. Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Central. Every Wednesday. There will be a video up there. You can always find me there.
Sick. Trying to think of anything else. YouTube, Instagram, yeah, homeless fisherman. If you guys don't
Homeless,
follow,
Homeless Fisherman, everything. Yeah, if you don't follow me, you've made it really far into the podcast. So it's very cool.
heck yeah, man. Uh, I think that's everything. When you guys are hearing this, the volume 2 issue 1 will be sent off to the print shop, so we'll be waiting on those to come back.
Chickadee review from
Chickadee
myself.
review from Mr. Marsh.
Very fun.
Um, Trying to think of anything else. Uh, this will be on YouTube. If you guys are on YouTube already, you know that it'll be on YouTube. But if you're listening on Spotify and you want to kind of watch us talk about the big fish and talk about
There's
baits and everything,
little secret Easter eggs. I threw an Easter egg in there for everybody who's watching the YouTube. Maybe you saw, maybe you didn't. Who knows? The fun.
um,
Now we're gonna have people listen to the whole Spotify thing and then go back and watch the entire with their eyes peeled, like looking for what I show. That's fun.
um,
But
if you guys don't already check out, oh man, what is it? Bass and underscore bums or Bass and Bums?
Bass and Bums, baby. The American Top Bank Fishing Tournament Trail coming coming soon, coming never, coming 20 37 coming sometime.
We've got, okay, it's Bass, the letter N, Bums _ Trading Co. We've got a lot of stuff in the text message group chat. We've got a lot of ideas, but it's
We gotta,
more so the time to
yeah,
execute all these ideas.
something's coming together. It'll all come to a head, and we'll be like, man, I'm glad we waited.
Between 9 and 5, you would think Bass and Bums is a multi-million-dollar corporation with the ideas we have. But it becomes the execution after when Marshall's got to go get content, when Phoenix is at dinner with his family, and I'm sitting here doing the magazine. The wheels kind of fall off the bus, but we've got a lot of ideas, and we're gonna start putting stuff in place really soon. I've got stickers. I've had these stickers for a while now, and I just haven't done anything with them.
I got one in the back of my van. I got them in here.
We've
So
got shirts. Marshall and I have shirts. You guys have seen Marshall wearing them, so
coming soon, coming soon, coming never.
yeah, exactly. Um, as always, I want to thank Marsh for coming on. Like I said, all of his stuff will be in the description. You guys can go follow him. If you're watching on YouTube, I appreciate it. We're trying to grow the YouTube channel. If you're listening on the regular podcast platforms, thank you very much. If you haven't rated the podcast on the listening platform, make sure you guys do that. 5 stars really means a lot. Pushes it in the algorithm for more people. Check out magazines will be coming soon. Like I said, like we're really striding to be more of the media side of things, the scales and tails, doing the weekly bait videos and that sort of thing has been helping, and just kind of using the big camera more and more, getting more comfortable, as Marshall would say, becoming a friend with my camera so I can talk to it like it's an actual person.
My best friend. But I just imagine Adrian there. But thank you guys for tuning in. I love you all. Peace
I hope you
out,
guys
Bobby.
enjoyed the episode. We'll talk to you guys next time. Marsh and Phoenix will be here on the next LLJ #3 episode. But in the meantime, I hope you guys
Don't
enjoyed this
promise,
second
don't
episode.
promise anybody Phoenix will be here.
Phoenix might be here, but I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we'll talk to you guys next time. See you guys.
Peace out.